How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today I'm going to bring you to a little bit more of that ESPN Jemele Hill drama, the Kerfuffle. It's going to be an interview I'm going to show you here with Curt Schilling. Now, remember I told you about Curt Schilling. He got fired by ESPN for posting the so-called anti-trans meme on his Facebook page. He was basically talking about how you're going to have these big NFL linebacker looking guys dressed in women's clothing going to women's restrooms. And he was like, hey, maybe that's not a good idea. Maybe we should have men's restrooms for the men and women's restrooms for the women. I don't care what you call yourself. You can call yourself the Queen of Zamunda, the Queen of England, the center of the galaxy, the sun, the moon, the stars. I don't care what you call yourself. But at the end of the day, you are a man or you are a woman, biologically, the end. Now, for that, he got fired. Now, some said that he was like a repeat offender, but basically, he was a repeat offender of being an open conservative. That's what it was, because others got fired from their network for less. Remember that tennis announcer who got fired by ESPN for saying that either Venus or Serena Williams had a gorilla style of play. He was not calling her a gorilla, but he was saying that she had a gorilla style of play, and that is all. So what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and roll it with you. I'll be in the lower left-hand corner and give you my commentary as we go along. So let's enjoy this. Let's watch it. And after we get done watching it, I'll give you my viewpoints on it and or summary. And then I'll talk about anything else that need to get talked about. So without further ado, go ahead and roll it.
Joining me now, someone who has himself been fired from ESPN. He also pitched 20 years in Major League Baseball, was a six-time All-Star, best remembered perhaps for the 2004 AL Series against the Yankees, when he pitched with his right sock bloody from a recent surgery. Here's the 2016 Facebook post he got fired over on the issue of transgender restrooms. It included the line, "I don't care what they are, who they sleep with. Men's room was designed for the penis. Women's not so much. Now you need laws telling us differently? Pathetic." Curt Schilling joins us on the phone from the road. He's driving back from Texas and Florida, where he's been helping deliver supplies to victims of Hurricanes Harvey and Irma. Hey, Curt, you believe that you were fired unjustly for speaking your mind. I'm curious, do you therefore support Jemele Hill on the grounds that she was unjustly fired for speaking her mind?
First slide right there. This is fake news. This is CNN. You see the CNN logo right here in the lower right-hand corner. This is fake news. She did not get fired. That's the whole point. She did not get fired. Now, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, when asked by some of the White House press corps if or what should happen or whatever, she said that she should be fired because maybe that's a fireable offense, but she has not been fired, and she's not going to be fired because of some other things we'll talk about a little bit later.
Two things. First off, I wasn't fired for speaking my mind. I was fired for being a conservative. With my opinions, comparing Islamic extremists to Nazis, there's facts to back that up. And my commentary around the transgender bathroom law was basically citing the fact, a logical fact, that men use the men's room and women use the women's room, and we don't need our government to tell us either.
Correct.
Jemele Hill, I haven't heard anything differently. You just said she was fired. I was under the impression that nothing had happened to Jemele, actually.
She has not been fired. That's correct, Curt.
The station issued a statement basically saying her personal opinions are her own. The frustrating part, and you're right, the First Amendment has not been abridged or violated here. As a private company, they can come and go as they please and do as they please. The problem is, for me, is that they're openly, Disney and ESPN both openly support what I believe to be racist, liberal agenda platforms while denying they do, which is kind of frustrating.
That's right.
I misspoke if I said that she was fired. Of course, she has not been fired. And
you misspoke. You said it a bunch of times. Like if you didn't see the first part of this, he had said like she had been fired a lot. He said that over and over again. So this is just fake news. That's all. And how many people are going to hear the fact or him saying that she got fired and believe it, but not hear this, what he's saying right now?
And what I meant to ask was, do you support her right to speak her mind, given that you believe you were canned unjustly for speaking yours? I would think on some ground, you would be one of her greatest advocates.
Oh, come on.
Absolutely. She shouldn't be fired. I would fire her. I would have never hired her. She has no place in any
her name is also spelled wrong. It's Jemele. What's going on at CNN? Like, you guys can't get facts right. I mean, you can't spell the girl's name right. I mean, what's going on? Like, do you even know Curt Schilling is really? You probably just got told right before you went on air who he is. And thank God for Wikipedia. That's probably where you got the information from, because if you're relying upon your own sources at CNN, you'd be in a terrible position right now.
Platform that represents sports. I think she's openly racist. I think she has been openly racist, but I don't need to tell you guys that. You've been at the forefront of this conversation at CNN since Trump's been elected.
What's meant by that last assertion?
Oh, well, I mean, you guys at CNN, and I'm not saying you specifically, Michael, because I haven't heard anything specifically from you, but CNN has been at the vanguard of everything from the fake Russian dossier to calling Trump a white supremacist time after time, anchor after anchor, with no validation, no support to the comments. Yep. The guys denounced KKK and David Houston white supremacy since 27 years ago on the Oprah Winfrey Show.
Correct.
But this is the same station that showed us 4 female news anchors with their hands up. With the hands up, don't shoot, even though that was proven to be a complete fabrication and a lie. I never heard anyone at CNN retract that. I never heard CNN retract that. And Officer Darren Wilson,
man, he's really just going down the line. Like the guy over at CNN, he's got to get him. He's triggered out of his socks right now. You heard him just try to interrupt, but he's triggered out of his socks right now because he was just breaking them apart like systematically, and everything he said was correct. So let's see what this guy says in rebuttal, if he tries to rebut it, or if he just try to like go along in the conversation and move past what Curt Schilling is saying, because it's just so much truth being rained from the sky. It's crazy.
Life was ruined for doing his job.
I'd love on a different day to litigate each one of the points that you just made here, because there's a response for each one of them. But instead what I'll do is I'll respond to you saying you were fired for being a conservative. I wasn't even going to drill down on it, but put back on the screen that Facebook post that Curt Schilling distributed where you cherry-picked an aberrant photograph.
Oh, he's mad. He's mad. He's mad. He's mad. Now you want to go back and try to attack Curt Schilling. I see what's going on here. You're mad. But hey, don't get mad at Curt Schilling. Get mad at your own network, because they're the one that put out the false narrative about hands up. Like, they're the ones that did what he's saying. It's not him. Don't get mad at him for just speaking the obvious. Matter of fact, you're doing exactly what ESPN did to him. That's why you got fired for speaking the obvious.
And you used it to besmirch an entire class of individuals. That's why you got fired.
Besmirch.
Now, do you want to have that conversation?
He's mad.
That's not true, Mike. I didn't besmirch an entire group of people. I said that men should use the men's room and women should use the women's room.
Really? Do you think that the image that's on the screen is typical of the transgendered among us?
Triggered.
Seriously.
Triggered.
No, and I never said it. I never said it was. That wasn't my picture.
By implication, you did. Yeah, come on. Cheap shot.
Right. No, I get that. I understand that's how you guys work, and I get it. You guys are about getting ratings, and so you need to be bombastic, and you need to make assumptions for the viewers, because you guys have operated on the notion that we're too stupid to think for ourselves.
Correct.
The fact of the matter was, my comment was around the fact I don't need my government to tell me where to pee. And we've never needed our government.
Let me tell you something.
To tell me to go to the bathroom.
I deal in evidentiary thinking. I don't like the you guys and your network. If you have a beef, hold on a second.
He's mad. He is so mad. Like, Curt Schilling really he got under his skin a lot. He's mad. Like, at this point, he's not even really talking about, the original story. He's just getting his own personal feelings out there.
Second, you know what? You were pompous when you were in Philly, and you're pompous today.
Oh, now you want to talk about him? Now you want to talk about his baseball career, really? Because earlier you was, giving him all this kind of praise, during the NLCS in 2004, he had the bloody sock and all of that. You were doing all that kind of praising, but now all of a sudden you pompous and all this and that. Come on, you're mad.
Because you come on my program and you make a number of wild assertions. None with specificity relative to me and my program. Now give me the final word out of decency. Go ahead.
Oh, he's mad.
No, I made it very clear, Mike. I wasn't referring directly to you, and I said that because I haven't heard you say anything. I was referring to the people you work for. You work for a company that has openly displayed its hatred of our president.
Correct.
That has lied time and time again about event after event after event, from reporting a BuzzFeed report that was completely fabricated.
Yep.
And you're part of the reason, and I say you're being CNN. You're part of the reason we're here. You're part of the reason Trump won.
You know the funny thing is to me, I got to just say this. Like one of the mantras of conservatives is this notion of personal responsibility. And yet, when it's your own conduct at issue, it's a dodge. It's like to point in every other direction. Why don't we have a conversation about your behavior that caused you to get fired from ESPN instead of you turning around and wanting to talk about the dossier that BuzzFeed produced? I thought we were having a conversation about ESPN having canned you.
Right. They should have canned me. That's what they believe. My First Amendment rights weren't abridged. I got fired for saying things that my bosses disagreed with. That's how it works. I'm all right with that. I got fired for reasons of my own doing. I don't have a problem admitting that.
Okay. I'm happy to hear you say that. You were fired for your own conduct. I mean, that's the bottom line. By the way, I'm for consistency. In case you're curious, I'm for consistency. If in fact they are going to say you're political, you're a distraction, that's not our business, we're sports, you're out of here, I'm going to tell you something that may come as news to you. I want them to hold that same standard for everybody. You, her, and whoever is next.
But you can agree with me that that's not even remotely close to what they do. They have made it very, and
correct.
Again, they're right, Michael. They're a privately owned company. They can do whatever they choose to do. Disney and ESPN have decided that they will support the Bomani Jones and the Jemele Hills of the world, who are every bit as racist and intolerant as they say everybody else is.
Yes.
That's their prerogative.
Curt Schilling, I appreciate you being here. Now for a different perspective, Fox Sports senior correspondent and NFL sideline reporter Pam Oliver. Aren't you glad you came out to play today, Pam?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, man. Now, I wonder what Pam Oliver said. Pam Oliver, if you don't know, she's like an NFL sideline reporter. I wonder what she had to say throughout this whole kerfuffle. That'd be interesting. I might link to that in the description box below if I can find it. But, man, I didn't expect all that. You know, that was my first time watching it. I watched it live with you. I haven't seen that. I just saw like the first minute of it just to make sure the sound and everything was good. But I didn't see the rest. That was great, man. That was a spectacular teardown of CNN. He took advantage of the opportunity, Curt Schilling, that is, to really just tear them down and get down to the core of what's really going on with their station. And what he was saying, if you missed that point about that's why we're here, like what he's saying is right. It's about the mainstream liberal media narrative being pushed on everybody. Not only the mainstream media, you're talking about TV, CNN, ABC, NBC, etc., so on and so forth. You're talking about Silicon Valley as well. Silicon Valley, Twitter, Facebook, Google, they push certain ideologies through their platforms, right? Prime example, you know, I'm a YouTuber, and shout out to YouTube, love YouTube, but there was a playlist of certain things that happened, and they had like one kind of voice that came from it. It's like, come on, like be more inclusive. You know, I love YouTube, I love Google, but let's be more inclusive, and not just on your skin color, but also on your political views. And that was a kind of point that Curt Schilling was making about things being so political in the mainstream media against Trump, against conservatives, that it's easy to throw a conservative away and it's not really a big deal. But if you're a liberal, you're good money. You're Bomani Jones, you're Jemele Hill. You could call people white supremacists. You could talk about white people in a negative way, all this and that. You could have racially divisive rhetoric as long as it applies to liberalism and it supports liberalism, and you good money. But if you go against liberalism, if you for conservatism, then all of a sudden you're a mean, evil, hateful person. That's what that is. And you could tell that CNN did not have much to really base their whole argument on. Maybe they thought Curt Schilling was dumb or didn't really understand what's going on at CNN, because they opened it talking about Jemele Hill got fired. Jemele Hill did not get fired, and that's the point. She's not going to get fired. Bob Iger, who is the the CEO of Disney, he has been rumored to be running for president in 2020. And of course, he's going to run against Donald Trump. And do you think that the CEO of Disney is going to fire Jemele Hill for her anti-Trump statements. See, you got some political bias going on right there in the company. And then also Disney, ABC, ESPN, there's all kind of political stuff in the actual structure on the back end. So that's why they're not going to go against a Jemele Hill or Bomani Jones or anybody like that. They're going to go against your Curt Schillings in the world, anybody that has his kind of point of view, because they want to push one narrative in the company and that's it. So I say hats off to my man Curt Schilling, Major League Baseball legend, for destroying CNN on CNN. That was a beautiful thing to watch, and I wish him all the best in the world. So what do you think? Do you think Curt Schilling did a great job on CNN, dismantling CNN? How did you feel when that host got so triggered? I mean, he got triggered out of his socks. Like, I could tell, like, his heart was pumping. I wasn't really looking at his face like that, but I imagined it being fire truck red. I mean, as red as, you know, the stripes on the stars or stripes right there behind me on my right-hand shoulder. Is that what was going on? Do you think that Curt Schilling was out of line for what he did to the actual anchor? Because it ain't the anchor's fault. At the end of the day, as I close, Curt Schilling was like, look, it's not even about you specifically, sir. It's about your network and how your company operates. This is part of the reason why we have such a divide in the country right now, because you're pushing false narratives. You're pushing, you know, liberal stuff, and you're ignoring conservative stuff. I like a balance of both. You know, you got to have two sides of the coin. A nice, healthy balance is good, but when you too much skewed in one way or the other, it makes for a dysfunctional society. So whatever your comments are, let me know in the comments below. That's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.